Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Friday, and all of our guests today, including Ryan Dempster, standing by. We've got a poster of Ryan behind Rick, as a matter of fact. Brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Dive into West Coast luxury with oceanfront rooms, a seaside restaurant, and relax in their indoor and outdoor pools with free parking, on-site cafe, fitness center, and so much more. Your ultimate escape awaits. Book your stay today. Call 250-248-8333 or visit us at BaysideResortParksville.com. Just a tremendous baseball game last night. The Mets coming back to defeat the Brewers and advancing in the Major League Baseball playoffs. Here to talk about that and everything going on in the MLB postseason, the pride of Gibsons, World Series champion, Ryan Dempster. Ryan, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm great, guys. And I just got to say, Don, I think it's amazing. We're here 30 years later still talking to each other, talking sports. This is just awesome, man.
It is awesome. And I got to say, I'm impressed by your collection of bobbleheads.
Yeah, very nice.
The Bob Ross really stands out.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he agrees.
Oh, my
Very
gosh.
nice.
Tremendous. Let's see what kind of picture you can paint during this segment. Hey, by the way, I got to tell you, your hometown, Gibsons, big news, now has a junior hockey team from the Pacific Junior Hockey League, the Coastal Tsunami. You might want to follow them, Ryan. Big news.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. And, my buddy Brad Winger and I went to school together, grew up together playing Little League Baseball together, and he's, done a great job with that program up there, and bringing that, being a big part of bringing that team to the coast. And it's a great arena and just awesome to see minor hockey up there. It's so much fun. I can't wait till this offseason come up and take in a game.
Baseball last night, again, tremendous. Mets over the Brewers. We all thought that game was over after the back-to-back home runs by the Brewers. Bottom of the eighth. Did you think that game was over?
Well, when you bring in the airbender, Devin Williams, most games are over. There's not many crooked numbers put up on the board against that guy, but that's the beauty of baseball. There's not a clock. There is a clock, but there's not one that says the game's over. And you can't run out time, and you're always got down to your last out. And I got to say this, man, there wasn't a moment in the game where you second guess much at all. Like It was a beautifully played, beautifully pitched game. Both starting pitchers did a tremendous job. A young kid from Milwaukee in Myers that comes up and gets an opportunity this year and dominated, and he did it again last night. Quintana was throwing great down the stretch. He carried that into that start. And it just kind of played out. The electricity in that place was nuts. I talked to a couple people who were there, and they just said it was, almost numbing how loud it was, especially after those two home runs and a Milwaukee hit. And then for Pete Alonso to kind of have this moment, I thought it was a great call in the game with John Shambi saying, this could possibly be Pete Alonso's last at bat in a Met uniform, and he does this and goes opposite field. So playoff baseball, it's one of my favorite things in life, to be honest with you. And I just love last night. It was awesome to watch.
I agree with you on playoff baseball. And Ryan, can you describe the increase in intensity going from a 160, nothing against it, but going from a 162 game regular season schedule to something like a best of three playoff series?
Yeah, having a chance to do it a couple different times in different situations, coming in and pitching, starting a game in the postseason or pitching out of the bullpen and closing out a World Series game and things like that. The thing about playoff baseball that, from a player's perspective that we feel is that everything is crystal clear, like clearer than a normal regular season. Like if you think about it this way, people for the most part aren't late to playoff games. They're on time. They don't leave their seat because you don't want to miss that big moment. You're rushing in between, a top of and a bottom of an inning to go to the bathroom or get a beer or a hot dog, whatever it is. And they don't leave until after that last out. And so everything's so intense. You get the best at bat out of every guy. There nobody takes a pitch off. Defensively, trying to every little edge you can get, whether that's taking an extra base. Sometimes during the regular season, you see a guy secondary lead, and he just kind of, he might just shuffle off. I missed getting a second on that ball in the dirt. In the playoffs, everything's magnified. You only have so many outs you can get. And it just really, you feel that as a player. The lights are bright, and it doesn't let up for a second from the moment you get to the ballpark. It's palpable, man. You feel it. It's pretty intense, and it's special, and you can see why guys, kind of those elite players, those Francisco Lindors, those players like that in the biggest stages, Pete Alonso showing up. This guy's won home run derbies when it matters most, and it's really fun to watch.
Hey, Ryan, the Mets and the Yankees payroll over $300 million, Dodgers over $200 million, but then you got the Tigers at $98 million, the Royals at $114 million. Do you like it when these low payroll teams advance?
Yeah, I love it. It keeps the big boys in check.
Yep.
It makes you realize the most important thing is execution. It's not your payroll that matters the most. Those big payrolls more often than not are going to get you to the playoffs. But it's who's playing the hottest at the right time. I mean, you look at a team that traded away their second best pitcher in Jack Flaherty, Mark Canha, Andrew Chafin. You go down the list, they cut payroll. They're paying almost as much money to Miguel Cabrera in retirement as they are to half their team. So, but they found something, and I've been a part of it. I've been on teams that are like that.
Yep.
Been on teams that have gone the whole way. When you start to become close like that and care for each other like that in the locker room, it leads you to places like this, and now you're getting down to the nitty gritty of it. Now, you can play with anybody, you can beat anybody. They're 20 games over 500 since August 10th. I mean, this team's for real. Every guy in their bullpen, AJ Hinch, is showing a masterclass on how to manage a bullpen and put guys in the situation. So I love this stuff. And Kansas City, hats off, man. 103 losses last year, and they're sitting there back in the ALDS. So this is what it's all about. And it doesn't matter if you're David or Goliath, everybody's got to see the table now, and who can win it, we'll see.
Ryan, the one team that didn't make the playoffs, Blue Jays, I got to ask you, what? Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins, they're getting beat up in the media. They're getting beat up by the fans. What are you seeing there with those two and the future of the Blue Jays? How disappointed was this year for them?
Yeah, pardon me, I just haven't really paid much attention as to why they're getting beat up or what they're getting beat up for, but I've always said this: the players win the games.
Yeah.
And a front office can put you in a position with players, and give you good players, keep good players. I feel like they've done a good job of signing good players, good free agent contracts, guys like Kevin Gossman, going out there, Kikuchi, who eventually got traded to the Astros, but. And then position player wise, Vladdy Guerrero has a monster. You get George Springer. You get these good players. They got to execute, and yes, the manager can pull strings and put guys in, but you got to go out there and play well. So, is it time that you make some changes from a personnel standpoint to inject a different avenue? I don't know. I thought they had a team to at least go to the playoffs this year, and they didn't get it done. And that's part of being in charge, right? If you're in charge and the pieces below you don't get it done, you're going to get scrutiny, you're going to get criticized, and you're going to want people in new position there. And that's just something that comes with the territory, and you got to figure out how to manage it and get the Blue Jays back to where they were in the middle 2010s, a dominating force that had a chance to win the World Series.
I think they're getting criticized, Ryan, because they kept their jobs. There was a lot of people. There's a lot of people who felt that there was going to be another kind of press conference that day. Hey, a lot of people are looking forward to the Mets and Phillies, obviously, especially given what happened last night. Other side of the USA, man, Padres and Dodgers. Can Padre pitching, which is so good, can they shut down Shohei?
I don't know really who can shut them down. I think you got to be smart. If you can, like I said, in playoff baseball, one run is massive. So if it's a situation where, you got 2 outs, but look who's behind them. I mean, they're a juggernaut, man. If they're swinging the bats, then they're dangerous. And the one thing I'll say about playoff baseball is throughout the collection of 162 guys put up massive numbers. We see what he did, 50-50, almost 60-60. It's pretty incredible. And then Mookie Betts, massive season. Freddie Freeman, really great year again. You're facing the creme de la creme now. That's what happens. That's why these best teams are in there. You're not eating up on, the Giants pitching, or you're not eating up on, Oakland's pitching or Colorado's pitch. You're facing Dylan Cease. You're facing Michael King. You're facing Robert Suarez. You're facing elite pitching. So I think that if they execute pitches, they can surely neutralize them. Now, that being said, Shohei Ohtani can hit pitches up here, and he can hit them off his shoe tops. And if he's locked in and his timing's on, he's going to be tough to get out, as well as a lot of those guys in the lineup. But I imagine with the game on the line and an open base, I don't think you're going to see a lot of situations where he gets something, to hit. I just don't think it will happen.
I don't know if you're supposed to do this, but are you pulling for Cade Smith in Cleveland, the Abbotsford kid, the reliever, who's come on big time as they enter their playoff series?
Yeah, hey, don't sleep on the Naylor boys too. They're flying the Canadian flag proud down there in Cleveland, and I think it's great. I think it shows how we continue to grow the game of baseball in Canada, and we have some guys who are doing some great things in the game, all-stars, dominant relievers like Cade, who's had just a marvelous year, a massive year for the Guardians. And when those guys are in there and they do something special, a little extra heartbeat goes for you, because there's not a lot of Canadians in the big leagues, right? So when the guys that are out there do well, whether you have any personal connection or whatever, you just kind of have a little bit more of a smile on your face.
Outstanding. During that interview, I think the lights went off there, and you didn't miss a beat. You're a broadcast veteran. You fix things within half a second. Yep. I'm very impressed, Ryan. Thanks so much for doing this.
Hey, man, thanks. Years of watching Sports Page with Don Taylor.
There you go.
Taking notes, pal.
Yeah, there you go.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Donnie Dahl, you guys are great, man.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks, Ryan.
All the best. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. You bet, man.